Hello there, my name is Retro. I used to review cartoon series, anime series, or something, computer random, and today we'll do a cartoon conspiracy theory or breaking the code of Dementia's diary. Of course, before I get started, I have to mention I already cover most of them with very specific videos. I probably point out which video I did and didn't do. If I did, I sort of kind of quickly summarize the small code, but other than that, I hope you enjoy, and hopefully my interpretation of some of them makes sort of sense to you. Now let's get started. I think the first code we should solve is the page 27 of the corner of 505, and this code probably says what should been but never was, and the other code beneath it says remember the mistake actually happened, and that's basically what the two codes really says. Yeah, I have to interpret this what page 27 really is. It's all about 505. If you know anything, I did also a video of 505 that basically summarized that nobody really knows what happened to 505. His old identity was basically a rental of this super weapon who has no soul, who kills. And that's basically what's 505. But unfortunately, the experiment actually failed and became this soft-lovable teddy bear, and Dr. Flug to this day doesn't know what actually went wrong. And I think that's what they're trying to point at. I don't know what you think. Now let's go to the next code. Page 32, where basically the information of dementia exists. And there's a code in the side says love with evil, chaos, and destruction. And basically what it says, I probably translate a little bit wrong a little bit at the end, but you get the point. And I think it's just saying how dementia is completely in love with Black Cat, or at least the idea of love, because if you know or seen some of the videos I made specifically of dementia, I have made a couple of weeks ago, that basically she probably doesn't understand social manners or understand what's really love or not. Maybe just fascinated of the destruction of Black Cats. Once more, it's just my interpretation. What is yours? Now let's go to the next page. Page 34 is more about dementia skills, but this one has a rhyme to it. Only works in Spanish, so I'm gonna try to rhyme it if I can to make it a little more sense in English. Now it says for a screen for a dinner, and the second code says for a flowers for an asshole. And that's what actually means both codes. It doesn't really rhyme so well in English, but you have to know in Spanish. It's actually pretty clever. But all of that, I think it means that dementia doesn't have a soul or understand human society, how destructive she really is. And that's sort of my interpretation of these two codes of the page of dementia, her skills. I just interpret it. What is your interpretation? Now let's go to the next code. On page 45, the code is under the number, says metal and darkness. I think it's because it's the page on of the metal hats or hat bots, or if you know the lore or the story of the hat bots, are basically people who own something from Black Cat. Basically deals went wrong and they never paid Black Cat, and now became sort of metal robot servants for Black Cat. And that's my interpretation, because if this on this page that what they are, and they do have human brains and they do bleed real blood, but they not yet confirm or not confirm, because people are sort of debating that it's actually real blood or it's just oil. Just some food for thought. Now let's go to the next one. On page 45, another hatbot model. The code in the side says the real soldiers of Black Cat work inside the darkness. If I have to interpret this and look in this page, I think it says that all the soldiers that Black Cat owns are basically fake. They're not real. The real monsters is in the shadows. Once more, this is my interpretation because of the lore of the metal hats or hat bots. And yeah, I think that makes sense, because Black Cat do take souls or your shadows, metaphors, not words, because he can manipulate them become soldiers. Yeah, I think that's what they're trying to say, that Black Cat is sort of pretending like a little game to entertain himself. Once more, it's just my interpretation. And now let's go to the next page. On page 51, it says, ready to wake up to serve our master, serve evil forever. This page is on the final Hatbot, that is basically the one who actually can fight. But I think it's basically saying that all the Hatbots are just pretending, waiting for the call just to go crazy, just to destruct, be violent. But once more, I think that's my interpretation. I don't know, what do you think that actually means on this page? Now let's go to the next page. This page is kind of interesting because you have a photo of two ladies, could be twins, could be not. I chose to interpret their twins, serving Black Cat before he changed a different look or a different body. You know the lore, you know what I'm talking about. But in the codes, have three of them around the photo. And the first code on the bottom says, one hidden, two for show. The second code at the very top says, only three always needed. Now the last code says, always around, one always with mad and power. And I'm trying to interpret this the best way I can with this photo and whatever it says. I think it means that Black Cat has to share his power. I'm guessing. That's sort of vague. It's still very interesting. Who knows? Maybe this belongs to the the red blood moon theory. I don't know you. I probably make a video separate of that and just go deep dive this photo. Anyway, let's go to the next page. This code says the Master of Shadows is mysterious and cruel. Now, my interpretation of this code, I think it means what the page trying to determine, because the page of this code basically focus on Dr. Flug studying Black Cat behind his back. And I think it's sort of saying, what bother studying Black Cat, because the only thing you find is cruelty, and that's what defines Black Cat, a monster, nothing interesting, just pure evil. And that's my interpretation. I think that's the best way to describe what the code trying to say. And that's it. I mean, what's your interpretation? Now let's go to the next page. Now this code says, punishment for pleasure, I was condemned. And the second code says, for eons I lose a bet because of him. Now, I did talk about this one person who was locked and condemned by Black Cat for a deal, and pretty much nobody knows what was the deal, who this guy is. In fact, there is inside this book a code that was a person who is messing with Black Cat, and some of the theory is it's the same guy because he can basically transport himself in different time periods. So people think maybe it's still him, maybe it's a different guy. We honestly don't know, but it's something interesting to talk about. Now let's go to the next page. On page 60, the code says the origins of all mistakes, and this is basically landing in the chemicals H3X. I made a video on it. I think I said that wrong, I'm sorry, but I made a video explaining what the theories, what this is. Yeah, I recommend watching that video because it's really go in depth of all the theories of what everybody think what is this chemical, this really weird goo that it has eyes, and it's something that you can't really have light, you can't reflect it. That's basically what this page describing, this sort of chemical. And I think it's the mistake that Dr. Flug is sort of experimenting. Once more, it's my interpretation. You watch the video or understand the lore. Yeah, that's sort of interesting. What do you think? What do you think what it actually means? Tell me down below, let me know. Now let's go to the next page. The code says Choco, reserve the case. And that sort of confused me because I don't understand the first two words, Choco, and that someone online in the fan base described, oh, that's Latin. It basically translated to curse object, And what this code is on the page of all the cursed objects that Dr. Flug collected over the years, or at least the most interesting ones on the page. There are basically nothing to interpret on this. It explains what it is automatically. So let's go to the next page. We have two codes on this page. The first code says fix the rust, and the second code says finally to be free for a Leo for another. Now I'm honestly confused because it's sort of hard to translate the last one. You could say Leo is a person, or Leo like something like the zodiac, or I mistranslated because you can't mistranslate Leo because Leo means the same thing in Spanish and English. So yeah, this is the thing I was sort of stumped. Maybe it's the person who hiding or who is locked away in Black Cat Island, the one I was mentioning a little while ago, that who lost a deal to Black Cat. Maybe the guy is named Leo. Maybe he said these clues to help him be free. Honestly, that's my interpretation. Oh, my best interpretation. What I can come up with the words. What's your interpretation? Now let's go to the next one. Now the code says they who dance, who have confidence of peace. But something went wrong. Now they stop dancing. Now this interpretation is on the page of the listing of all the heroes. And this listing have two heroes who were basically eliminated in the show, but what's more, eliminated as a quotation because we still don't know they're still dead or alive. It's more your interpretation, and I think that's sort of confirming both heroes are dead. But once more, that's my interpretation. What is your interpretation? Tell me down below, let me know. Let's go to the next page. This code says dancing, dancing, you will find them. Now this page, what this code says, is interpretative of peace. That Dr. Flug on this page explains what he found of peace, the code, making sense of peace. Who are they and what their main goal is, defeating villains. But it's something even darker. Maybe they're not heroes, they even pretend to be heroes to take over the world. And that's basically the interpretation I took of the little rhyme of the code, because if you read the page of Dr. Flug explaining how old Peace really is, and the code was created by Peace, but Peace has been very old. And the weird part is Peace is kind of young organization, at least assuming they're young. And once more, this is my interpretation. I don't know your interpretation. Tell me down below. Let me know. Let's go to the final code. And this code is like the final page of back of the book of Dementia's diary. Did I really explain multiple times? I'm just gonna summarize this. It's basically a character called Sate, that he's the one who basically put all the codes of the first two books. Maybe the third book when it come out, I don't know. And basically declaring he is the one who messing with Black Cat and Black Cat crew. Don't worry, you have the chance to play with me when the time is right. Sign, Sate. And that's basically the summary. It's longer, but I just summarized what he says, what the whole thing is. And that's it. That's his no interpretation. Is it basically declaring war with Black Cat? Who this guy really is? Well, there been maybe one theory is the guy who's locked in Black Cat Island, but honestly we don't know. He's supposedly very powerful. We just don't know. But other than that, what is your interpretation of everything? Do you like my interpretation? Let me hear your interpretation. Or you think you have your own theories? Tell me down below. Let me know. Honestly, I got nothing else to say. Just thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and have a wonderful day.